Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of AEW Dynamite as well as WWE NXT for June the 24th, 2020. Now, before I get to the AEW and NXT recaps, let's talk about the breaking news. Several people within WWE, including talent, have tested positive for COVID-19. This is obviously a very concerning development. WWE only recently started testing talent for the coronavirus. Up until a few weeks ago, WWE was just doing a standard screening where your temperature would be taken, questions would be asked, that sort of thing. And then recently, WWE started doing full-blown testing. Test results have come back, and numerous people have tested positive. And there's even one report that perhaps as many as 24 people tested positive for the virus. And on top of that, even more bad news for WWE. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, they are having travel restrictions for people traveling to those states from states that have seen spikes in COVID-19. Florida happens to be one of those states seeing record numbers. And as a matter of fact, the U.S. is seeing a record number of new COVID-19 cases. Now, there has been more testing, but it's still not good news. It's very troubling. And could this lead to some serious issues with WWE and AEW, for that matter, being able to produce shows? Now, we all know WWE will do whatever it takes. WWE and wrestling was considered to be an essential business, and they were able to keep running. We'll see what happens. It could be a very interesting several days. It has been a very interesting several days. TJS with the $2 super chat. Of course, he has to do his off topic because that's how TGS rolls. Says, bother you that Matt acknowledges his split personality? No, it doesn't bother me at all. He can do what he wants to do. Matt Hardy, to me, the guy's very entertaining, and whatever he wants to do is fine as far as his character goes. I trust his instinct. So make sure you guys stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding COVID-19 and the developments. As it stands right now, WWE is still planning to tape shows this weekend, 2 episodes of Raw and SmackDown on Friday and 2 more episodes on Saturday. NXT is scheduled for next week. They are doing the Great American Bash to counteract AEW Fyter Fest with a 1-week notice. Why not announce this a month ago? But I guess somebody finally decided, hey, we own the trademark. Why not use it? It's 4th of July time, and AEW's doing a big show. I'm just surprised this was decided on at the last minute. Anyways, that's what's going on with WWE and COVID-19. WWE did issue a brief statement just noting that they are continuing to test talent, employees, crew, and so on for the virus. And that's the only comment from WWE at this point. But I have to say, at this time, people like Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, looking pretty smart to stay home. Owens took some time off. Zayn has been gone since WrestleMania. Reigns took off right before WrestleMania. You know, I do not blame those guys at all, considering what has gone down here. Better safe than sorry. Health and family should come first. So let's talk about AEW and NXT. The shows must go on, and we'll see if the shows continue to go on. People have asked me, do I think WWE will consider shutting down for a while? I think that Vince will fight that as much as humanly possible. I think he will only shut down if he's absolutely forced to. Like if they threaten him with fines or something, I know. I don't know what it would take to get Vince to shut down. Somebody going to jail? I don't know. But I think that WWE will do whatever possible. Vince specifically, he will move heaven and hell. He will split the earth to try and keep these shows going, because that's how Vince is. He will not lose to COVID. As far as he's concerned, COVID is the enemy, and Vince must win at all costs. So that's Vince for you. Now, AEW. We kicked off with a lumberjack match, Wardlow versus Luchasaurus. Pretty fun lumberjack match. I mean, it was fairly predictable in the sense of Luchasaurus goes to the outside and all the heels beat him down, and the heels keep interfering during the match. There were a few cool spots where Wardlow took Marco's stunt and tossed him off the stage onto all the guys below. Of course, they all stand there waiting to catch somebody. And then Luchasaurus knocked Wardlow off the stage. Wardlow fell onto all the guys, and then Luchasaurus did his shooting star press off the stage onto the big pile. And then they got back in the ring. Luchasaurus was on the verge of winning when MJF got on the apron. Jungle Boy speared MJF off the apron, but of course, the distraction works because stupid babyface most of the time falls for it. We've seen a few times where it hasn't worked, but in this case, it did work. Wardlow with a low blow, and then did his airplane spin slam to pin Luchasaurus. I've been trying to say push Luchasaurus like Goldberg, but ain't happening. Wardlow picks up the win. Stupid babyface Luchasaurus loses. There's a big fight after that. Everybody brawled. And then it was announced that there will be a tag team match at Fyter Fest. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy versus MJF and Wardlow. So maybe Luchasaurus gets his win back. I guess we'll find out at Fyter Fest, which I believe is week 1. They did announce the lineups for both nights, which I will pull up here in a little bit. We had a Taz video package hyping up Brian Cage. AEW does a really good job with the video packages. I like them. We had Britt Baker show up in her Rolls Royce, and there was plexiglass surrounding her. She had a drink. All was good in the life of Britt Baker. Hikaru Shida came out for her match against an enhancement talent. Penelope Ford was there at ringside. The two of them had a little bit of a heated confrontation. And then Shida made quick work of her opponent. Literally 2 moves to beat her. And then went after Ford, jumped over the barricade, beat her up. Kip Sabian had to break the ladies apart. And Curtis Butler says he calls them montages. You're right. They're vignettes or montages. A video package, I guess, is a bit different than a montage or a vignette. I mean, you could really use any of those terms interchangeably, but they probably have slightly different definitions. I'm just like, whatever. Video package, vignette, montage, whatever. We had a Fyter Fest press conference for the TNT Championship match. a little bit old school here, or throwback to the old days with these press conferences. Jake Hager was fashionably late, or maybe not fashionably, he was just late. I don't know if that's something he normally does. Arn Anderson was asked by one of the fake reporters, I presume, about the absence of Jake Hager, and Arn went on this long-winded rant. He rambled for a while, but the gist of it was that Cody's going to retain the title. Cody started talking about what the title means to him, felt like he was rambling too for a while. And then finally, Jake Hager showed up. They posed, did the press conference fighter pose that's done in boxing matches in UFC with the title. Hager put his fist up to Cody's face, and Cody got annoyed by this. And then this woman, I'm not sure if it was Hager's wife or not, she showed up with him and she grabbed a cup of water and tossed it in Cody's face to disrespect him. And Hager and this woman took their leave, and that was the segment. Honestly, I was a little disappointed with it. I felt like they should have broken the table, or they should have destroyed the set, or it should have been pure chaos. I just thought it was kind of forgettable. Like, I felt they could have done so much more and been more creative with it. Arn was rambling for a while, and the big ending to this was a cup of water being thrown at somebody. So, yeah, I think it could have been done better. It was kind of weak in my opinion. We had Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss vignette, I guess you could call this. This would not be a video package. This would be a vignette. They were at a gas station beating up a bunch of people. And then they had a tag team match against Colt Boom Boom Cabana and Brody Lee. Brody Lee is trying to recruit Colt Cabana, of all people. I'm not sure why, but I guess he sees something in Colt Cabana. Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela had some offense in this match. They were doing pretty well against Colt Cabana, but then Brody Lee got involved, hit him with some super kicks, and then Lee took out Janela, and Cabana was allowed to make the pinfall, but it was really Brody Lee's work that allowed them to pick up the victory. And then after the match, Lance Archer appeared for the first time in a couple weeks, I think. He really hasn't done much since the pay-per-view. He beat up Sonny Kiss, and Janela threw a chair at Archer, which Archer no-sold and beat the crap out of Janela. Moving on here, we had FTR versus SCU. The announcers during the match brought up QT Marshall, who was pulled from this show because he came into contact with somebody that tested positive for COVID-19. And JR, maybe with a little knock at WWE, said nobody takes better care of their performers than AEW, and had a little PSA to everybody to wear your mask. And I agree with JR. Listen to the science. I'm not going to go off on a big rant about health and well-being, but go with what science tells you. And if scientists are saying wear a mask, wear a mask. It's not the end of the world. I value my freedom as much as everybody, but going out and wearing a mask, social distancing, it's doable. And it saves lives. So that's my PSA for this live stream. Hopefully not too many people out there are offended. But I do care about people's safety, and public safety should come first. All right, enough of that. Enough of the COVID talk. Back to the wrestling. FTR had a pretty good match here with SCU. I enjoyed it. FTR picked up the victory with the Goodnight Express, formerly the Shatter Machine. They cut a promo after the match, talked about how they are good guys and they are bad guys. But they are just the baddest. And all of a sudden we had Butcher and Blade hijack FTR's truck that they drove for their entrance. And they were cutting a promo. And then all of a sudden the Lucha Brothers Both of them back together for the first time, I think, since the pandemic started. Pentagon, I think, has been absent since the beginning of the pandemic. Phoenix has obviously been around a little bit. But yeah, we got the Lucha Brothers back finally, and Blade and Butcher challenged FTR and the Young Bucks to an 8-man tag team match at Fyter Fest. A fight broke out, and the Young Bucks came out to help out. FTR heels fled the scene in FTR's truck. Those bastards, they stole the truck. I guess it serves FTR right for leaving the keys in the ignition or whatever they did. I wonder if we're going to see a segment next week where the truck is destroyed. Who knows? Usually it's the heels that have their truck or car destroyed by the baby faces, but here you go. The heels stole FTR's truck. We had what I guess you could call a video package. I got to look it up. I'm not even sure if there's a distinctive definition for each term. I might be going on about this all night. I believe this was a video package on Kenny Omega and Adam Page versus the Best Friends. Jim Ross talked about the match and a couple of other people. Pretty good stuff here. And then we had Brian Cage picking up a victory in a squash match. It was originally supposed to be Jon Moxley in this match, but he also was in contact with somebody that had COVID-19 and he had to stay home. Well, he didn't have to, but I guess Moxley actually volunteered to stay home and not put anybody at risk. So props to Jon Moxley for that. So anyways, Brian Cage won with the Steiner screwdriver. The real story was after the match. Taz cut this great promo. Taz has been doing awesome on commentary and doing the promos. He feels like a better version of Paul Heyman right now, because Heyman, I have to say, has gotten a bit stale when he's been coming out there with Brock Lesnar as of late. Taz feels like he has like a fire lit under his ass. Like he is nailing it with these promos. He said Cage has been coming to work while Moxley has been sitting at home with some bullshit excuse. Great line there. And said that Moxley's title reign is in grave danger. And then said he has a question for Mox. Can Mox stop the path of Cage? I'm just going to say I don't think we're going to have a title change. But man, Brian Cage is pretty hot right now. And while he's looked really good and they're pushing him strongly as a monster, Taz is really doing a lot for this act. So good pairing here with these guys. And I got to say, Taz is doing better than he was in TNA with Samoa Joe. He just felt like he wasn't very motivated in TNA. He feels motivated here. Just my own personal observation on Taz right now. We had a Brody Lee and Cole Cabana backstage interview, and they basically Brody Lee challenged SCU to a 6-man tag team match for Fyter Fest. So it'll be Lee, Cole Cabana, and one of the other Dark Order guys against the entire SCU group. Big Swole approached Britt Baker's Rolls Royce, and Britt was like, hey, you cannot do anything. This booth has plexiglass. It's soundproof. But then Big Swole had an idea. She grabbed a bin of trash and dumped the trash onto Britt Baker, and she completely freaked out over this. I thought this was really fun. Nice segment here. I could imagine, like, this is one of those little segments that I think everybody could enjoy. You know, older people will enjoy it. I think younger people will enjoy it. It's just a fun segment. It's always fun seeing the snotty rich girl get trash dumped on her and her hair is all messed up. It's fun. It's a fun segment. So I did like this a lot. And then we had Santana versus Broken Matt Hardy. I guess there was a poll, which persona would Matt Hardy do for this show? It was Broken Matt. Matt did pick up the victory and then was immediately attacked by Ortiz after the match. They hit the street sweeper on Matt. Private Party, they're tight with Matt Hardy right now. They made the save, and I believe that match will also be taking place at Fyter Fest. We then had our main event segment, Chris Jericho, and an Orange Cassidy face-off. We had Jericho talk about how Orange Cassidy is like the chicken cross the road joke of AEW. Said that when he first saw Orange Cassidy, he felt that the matches were an embarrassment to the business, and he even called up Tony Khan, the Bucks, Omega, and asked why did they hire this guy, and they told him that people love Orange Cassidy. Jericho then admitted, yes, it's true, Orange Cassidy's different, and as Brian Pillman once said, you got to be different to succeed in wrestling. But then started insulting Cassidy again, saying he only appeals to people because he's lazy, he's a slacker. And then Jericho gave Orange Cassidy a warning. Do not start doing those bullshit shin kicks to him or all hell's going to break loose. Jericho said that Orange Cassidy is going to need a man-sized miracle to beat him. And Orange Cassidy will run out of juice at Fyter Fest. So Orange Cassidy grabbed the mic, but he had nothing to say. He put down the mic and he started doing the shin kicks, which Jericho had warned him to not do. And then he went for his super kick, but then put his hand in his pocket. Jericho took Cassidy's glasses, broke the glasses, and that's when Orange kicked into serious mode, took down Jericho. They fought in the crowd. Jericho then used the boom camera on Cassidy. Cassidy was bleeding, but he managed to make a comeback. He hit a running Superman punch, knocking Jericho off this platform. Jericho fell through a table, and Orange Cassidy stood tall on the final AEW Dynamite before the 2-week extravaganza Fyter Fest. So let's recap the matches for Fyter Fest. Week 1, which is next week, July 1st. MJF and Wardlow versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Private Party with Matt Hardy versus Santana and Ortiz. AEW Women's title, Hikaru Shida versus Penelope Ford. AEW TNT title, Cody versus Jake Hager. AEW Tag Team titles, Paige and Omega versus Best Friends. Night 2, July 8th, Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage for the AEW World title. Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. FTR and Young Bucks versus The Butcher, Blade, Phoenix, and Pentagon Jr. Lance Archer with Jake Roberts versus Joey Janela. And SCU versus The Dark Order. And Nyla Rose will be in action. Pretty stacked nights for both shows. Not sure which one I have a personal preference for. Maybe night 2 because you got the world title match and Jericho versus Orange Cassidy and FTR and Young Bucks against Butcher, Blade, and Phoenix and Pentagon. So I might have to give the edge to night 2, even though night 1 has more of the title matches. What do you guys think? Leave a comment. Let me know. Are you night 1 or night 2 of Fyter Fest? So AEW Dynamite, good show this week, giving it a solid B. Pretty fun stuff leading up to Fyter Fest. Now, let's move on here to NXT. But before I do that, Cindy said night 2. Alistair said night 2. Dr. NXT Scorpio night 2. Michael Wayne night 2. So up to this point, it looks like I'm seeing everyone picking night 2 as their favorite. Maybe I'll have to do a poll on No DQ. Tyson also says night 2. Nick Glavin also says night 2. So looks like it's unanimous right now, or just as I say that, Mohammed goes with night 1. NXT. We kicked off with outside the building, Damian Priest was attacked by somebody. Cameron Grimes came to the ring, cut a promo, thought that Damian Priest was afraid to fight him. Priest showed up with his ribs taped. He was not backing down from a fight. We had this match between these guys. Priest was trying to pick up Grimes, but couldn't do it because of his ribs. And then we had Grimes hit his double knees, Meteora, whatever it's called, to pick up the 1-2-3 victory over Priest, who was injured, so that was his out for losing. We had Robert Stone talking to Rhea Ripley outside the building. His heart was hurt because she turned down his manager services. And Robert Stone revealed that Aaliyah has signed with the Robert Stone brand, and he was going to offer Rhea one more chance, a golden ticket, a second chance to join him. She responded by giving him a low blow, throwing him in the trash can, and then Aaliyah confronted Rhea Ripley to set up a match between them later on during the show. We had another Tim Thatcher training segment. I kind of feel like he's doing a Stu Hart gimmick where he's got these guys in his dungeon, and he's stretching his trainees and making them squeal and tap out. So I like the gimmick here they're doing with Thatcher. He has some credibility, I think, with this gimmick. We had Santos Escobar versus Jake Atlas. And Atlas put up a pretty good fight, did a moonsault to the outside on Escobar's cronies, but was not enough to put away Escobar. Escobar won with the Phantom Driver. And Tyson corrected me. It's actually a dumpster, not a trash can, as I mentioned earlier, when Rhea Ripley threw Stone into the dumpster. My bad. We had another Undisputed Era therapy segment, and they were trying to make Roderick Strong overcome his fears. They put him in a trunk, and he was okay from that. And then Adam Cole was like, "You're good to go. You're good to face Dexter Lumis on this week's NXT." And Roddy was not too pleased with this, but he was going to do it. He was going to take one for the team. We had a video package for the triple threat, a vignette, video package, whatever. We had Casey Catanero and Kaden Carter against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. The Faces tried to double team Raquel, but it did not work. Raquel tagged in Dakota Kai, and Kai tapped out Catanero. I kind of get this Shawn Michaels and Diesel vibe from Dakota Kai and Gonzalez, and Kai also called out Io Shirai once again. They're going to be doing a fatal four-way women's match on next week's Great American Bash edition of NXT to determine the next opponent for Io Shirai, I presume. And Malcolm Bivens and his team, I forgot their name again. Malcolm cut this promo, pissed about Danny Lorcan and Birch interfering last week in their business. We had Karrion Kross versus Bronson Reed. Not a total squash match, but it was pretty one-sided. Bronson got a few hits on Kross, hit a suplex, but Kross basically popped up from this and scored the victory via submission. I love the entrance. The entrance never gets old, or at least hasn't yet. I don't think it will. To me, this could be like Undertaker's entrance. This could be something we could be watching for years. It's so badass. Love the entrance for them, for both Kross and Scarlett. We had Adam Cole interviewed, and he said, "It doesn't matter who wins the triple threat. All he's focused on is getting that mantle space for his 2 championships." We had Rhea Ripley versus Aaliyah in a one-on-one match, and Robert Stone attempted to interfere. He got on the apron. He threw his shoe in the ring. Rhea had a submission on, and stupid babyface, she lets go of the submission, starts chasing after Stone. Aaliyah tries to roll up Ripley, but it doesn't work, and Rhea hits the Riptide to win. So thankfully, Rhea still won despite being a stupid babyface. So that's nice. But still, I hate when they always just let go of the move. Like, just keep the submission on. What's Robert Stone going to do? Get in the ring and hit you with his 150-pound frame? Like, come on now. It's just dumb. I'm tired of the stupid babyface always just having to chase the person and just being totally thrown off. Just keep the move on, for crying out loud. If they get in the ring and hit you, so be it. You win the match. It bugs me so much. I hate this stuff. Anyways, moving on here. We had Dexter Lumis versus Roderick Strong. Pretty short match here. Roderick Strong basically just fled, got counted out, and Lumis then put his submission on Bobby Fish, but Fish managed to escape. And Curtis Butler with a $2 super chat says, "Who throws a shoe?" Well, Robert Stone does, apparently. Thank you for the super chat, Curtis. I do appreciate it. And speaking of Robert Stone, him and Aaliyah were backstage chatting it up with Rhea Ripley. And a match was set up between Aaliyah and Robert Stone versus Rhea Ripley. Handicap match for next week's NXT Great American Bash. We then had our main event of the evening for the North American Championship. Johnny Gargano versus Finn Balor versus the champ, Keith Lee. Winner goes on in 2 weeks to face Adam Cole. Champion versus champion, winner take all. Looked like a really good match, but to be totally honest with you guys, I was focused on Jericho and Orange Cassidy over on Dynamite, so didn't really catch everything in this match. But looked really good from what I saw. I did pay more attention towards the finish, which was all three guys going back and forth, a lot of things happening. Lee hit the Big Bang Catastrophe to Gargano. And then Finn Balor came off the top with the coup de grace to Gargano. Gargano fell out of the ring. And then Lee hit the Big Bang Theory to Balor. 1, 2, 3. Retained the championship. And then Adam Cole came out, and there was a face-off between Lee and Cole to set up their match in 2 weeks. So overall, pretty good NXT. Ken Terminated by Google with a $5 super chat says, "Does it annoy you when an enhancement talent does the stupid babyface act? I remember Coco Beware did that a lot in his, quote, Hall of Fame career." Well, if a lower card guy does it, then I'm like, whatever. But, I mean, in general, I just don't like the psychology in it. Like, I always think the heels should be outsmarted, not the faces. The faces should always be one step ahead of the heels, because who wants to cheer somebody who's stupid? You want to cheer somebody who was smart. Like Bugs Bunny was smart. Bugs Bunny always outsmarted Yosemite Sam and Elmer Fudd. You never, well, almost never saw Bugs Bunny get outwitted. Bugs Bunny was somebody you could cheer for and get behind. If Bugs Bunny was a moron and always got fooled, he wouldn't be the icon that he is. So we need more Bugs Bunnies in wrestling and fewer Daffy Ducks. There you go. And we have a $5 super chat from the Gamazon 100. Thank you for that. He says, "Finn put over Lee tonight. I like it, but we all know Adam Cole will have both titles due to Undisputed Era's interference. So predictable, huh?" Yeah, it could happen, but see, I'm kind of mixed on this, because I think Keith Lee should go to the main roster. So it would not surprise me to see Cole win here and Lee goes off to the main roster, Raw or SmackDown. However, I feel the same way about Cole. Like, I'm tired of the Undisputed Era. It's been great, but I think it's run its course. And quite frankly, I think Adam Cole should move on, although he could end up getting lost in the shuffle on the main roster. Adam Cole, I'm not sure if he'll get that big push. Keith Lee will. But at the very least, I want to see a change. Maybe the interference backfires. Maybe Undisputed Era screws up and we start a breakup between the group. I would like to see that. Don't know if it's going to happen, but I'd like to see the interference backfire, leading to Keith Lee becoming a double champion. And maybe they forfeit the North American title, like when the IC title gets forfeited, such as when the Ultimate Warrior beat Hogan at WrestleMania 6, and then the IC title was forfeited into a tournament. So, although they've really kind of overdone it with tournaments, I think I could go a while without a tournament. We just had that Cruiserweight tournament. AEW, we had the TNT title tournament. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the best course of action is. Curtis Butler brings up the airplane gremlin from one of those old cartoons. I remember that one. Yeah, Bugs. That was early Bugs Bunny before he really smartened up. But yeah, that's why I said not every single time. Bugs did get one-upped every now and then, and that was one of those cartoons where that gremlin was screwing with him, and Bugs was in the airplane getting sick. Like that was a fun cartoon. I like that one. DJW with a $10 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, "What's up, Aaron? I don't think AEW is booking the Inner Circle strong enough. I feel like they should be holding at least one title, preferably the tag title, so the whole faction can defend them." Well, who knows what's up with the Inner Circle now because of Sammy Guevara becoming suspended. I don't know how much time the Inner Circle has left. I mean, I would not be surprised if they end up splitting off at some point. I mean, maybe not soon. I mean, I always thought that Jericho might take some time off to do more Fozzy stuff, but clearly that's not happening now. So maybe we will see the Inner Circle get a renewed push. The thing is now, the problem with Ortiz and Santana is that they're not at the top of the ladder. Like, FTR is going to be the team that gets the big push now, and of course the Young Bucks. So I don't think Santana and Ortiz are going to be pushed as the top team. I don't think they're going to get the tag team titles anytime soon. And Jake Hager, I think he's winning the title. If I had to go with a prediction, I would go with Cody retaining. I think Cody's going to hold it for a while, as he should. He's the first champion. But yeah, I suspect Cody will retain, and they're not going to do that gimmick with the Inner Circle. So, letter grade. Let's do a quick letter grade for NXT. Probably a B-. Good show. I think I enjoyed AEW a little bit more. And like I said, when it comes to the main events, I think AEW held my attention more with a talking segment. I love Keith Lee. I love Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor. They're all great. But I was watching the talking segment over the wrestling. So between that, and I liked the Lumberjack match on AEW. And there was some fun stuff like with Britt Baker and Big Swole. So I think I got to go with AEW. Slight edge, B, and then a B- for NXT. Michael Wayne, NXT B, AEW B. Ken terminated by Google with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Ken. Says, have you ranted about young Master Eugene? Eugene wasn't a smart character, but I do like Nick Dinsmore. Very underrated talent. That is one case where you can make it work. And I liked Eugene more than most people did. I know Jeff Meacham hated the character, and some people thought it was offensive, and I don't know if WWE would do that character today, but I thought Nick Dinsmore did a great job with the character. And I liked the storyline with Triple H, and I felt sympathetic towards the character for a while. So I think WWE did do a good job with it. And and you kind of feel bad when people mess around with him. So I enjoyed the character and the storylines they did with Eugene. I liked that musical chairs. I think that was when Eugene was the guest GM for Raw, and he made a musical chairs contest And Ric Flair was part of it, dancing around. Stacy Keibler, Jericho was in it. That was a great Raw segment. So if you guys haven't seen it or forgot about it, like, go back and watch that. That was a lot of fun. And CC Drink with a B for NXT, Sean with a B for NXT, and Tyson with a B for both. And the Game is on 100 says NXT B minus, and Curtis Butler also goes with a B. All right, guys, that'll wrap it up for this live stream. Thank you very much for tuning in. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. It's been a crazy week, like very busy news week between the accusations, the COVID-19 situation, a lot going on in wrestling. NoDQ.com keeps you updated. I'm pretty much doing this 24/7, one-person operation, but I do have some great people that have been helping me out. So thank you to everybody from Team NoDQ, and thank you all for your continued support and viewership. Keep spreading the word. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on your notifications, and see you guys for the NoDQ review number 101. More coming up later this week. Take care, everybody. Stay positive and be safe. Wear your mask. And as Big Vito would say, clean your room. Talk to you guys next time.